Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to William Baker, President Emeritus of WNET.org and author of Leading with Kindness, How Good People Consistently Get Superior Results. We will return to our speaker in a minute for our traditional City Club questions. We encourage you to formulate your questions now and remind you that your questions should be brief and to the point. We welcome all of you here and those listening to WCPN 90.3 FM, WCLV, WTAM, or one of the many radio stations across the country. Radio broadcasts of the City Club are made possible through the generous support of Case Western Reserve University. Our television broadcast partners are WVIZ PBS Idea Stream and Time Warner Cable. Television broadcasts are supported by National City, now a part of PNC, and Cleveland State University. Closed captioning is supported by Nordstrom Corporation. Our live webcasts are supported by the University of Akron. We are pleased to welcome to our forum today students who are here as part of our City Club student program. Participation of these students is made possible by a generous grant from the Loeb Foundation. Today, we welcome students who are here from Notre Dame Cathedral Latin High School, Cleveland School of Science and Medicine, and University School. Will the students please stand and be recognized? We also wish to thank our program partner, IdeaStream, for its support with today's program. With us today are Jerry Wareham, Kit Jensen, and Bob Smith from IdeaStream. Will you please stand and be recognized? Also today, we are pleased to welcome guests at tables hosted by Cuyahoga County Public Library and WVIZ PBS and 90.3 IdeaStream. Now, we would like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphone today is PR and Programs Manager Carrie Miller, over here, and Development Director Jessica Allen. Now, first question, please.
Yes, in your talk, it seems that there's a parallel organization that speaks almost exactly the way you do. It's called the value of intangible assets. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not. No, it sounds...
Okay, well then... Well.
But I'll even answer a question like that because I think it's interesting because there are more and more people who are starting to talk about that money is not the only way to measure things. That there are a whole bunch of other values that money, matter of fact, there's a man by the name of Wolfenson, former head of the World Bank, James Wolfenson, credible man, who believes, culture and education and all the, this is a man that really knows money, but he knows that financial measurements are only one measurement. So I assume that's really what this is talking about, yes.
Do you think that the realization that values like authenticity in the workplace will always come naturally to the workers, or that we'll constantly need wake-up calls like the crash?
Well, I think that's a really good question, and the answer is, of course, I don't really know. A lot of this stuff should come naturally, but I think because of some of the things I've said earlier, because of the power of media and the models that have been developed, actually the exact opposite tends to come naturally. Why? Because we've had in our lives either bad role models or because media has given us so many bad role models. I never forgot at a company I was involved with, we promoted a person to be president of that company. And she was really a very, very skilled person. And we gave her that job, and we started getting reports that, wow, she's a killer. And ultimately, she left the position because it wasn't the right fit for her. And I thought to myself, well, maybe it was because, and I felt very guilty about it myself, that maybe she just didn't have the particular role models that she needed. She thought, well, suddenly when I become president, I've got to really start, using the iron fist here. And that wasn't, if she would have just stayed the way she was, she would have been really quite an incredible executive. And part of the responsibility, and I'm on a number of corporate boards, really winds up to being the board itself. And I can also tell you that boards wind up sometimes being managed by the CEO. I can also tell you that the pressure on boards really is, for the most part, financial. And that's no good either. The boards have to be able to take a deeper view, and they're the ones that really should give encouragement and support for the CEO.
Bill, your book refers to leadership in business. I'm just wondering whether or not some of the principles in the book also apply in the political area.
Oh yes, as I say, one of the best examples was when somebody asked me. I think it was Tavis Smiley, when I did his show. He said, "Well, any advice for Barack Obama?" And I said, "Well, who am I to give Barack Obama advice?" But then I remembered that study that was done that I cited you about the historian who had done studied the best presidents of America, and I said, this study showed that arguably Lincoln is may have been the best president of the United States. If you follow what Lincoln did, which was lead with kindness, lead with sincerity, you're going to go very far. I think obviously no decision yet has been made about how good Obama's going to be or not, but I say first indications are he's probably going to be very good at managing with that style. But we've also found too that in the book we have not-for-profit people and people in the military. One of the examples we use is a man by the name of General Marty Steele. You would think this guy was the #2 guy. He was the Kit Jensen of the U.S. Marine Corps. He was the chief operating officer of the U.S. Marine. Now, decorated war hero and all this stuff. You would think, if anybody's going to be tough, it's going to be a Marine. A decorated hero. This man leads with absolute kindness, and he goes around now lecturing young people on that subject. And why is it? You talk to him about it, you say, look, if you ask somebody to follow you, and you ask them to put their lives on the line, they've got to have incredible respect for you and know that you really care about them. So, the Marine Corps is managed that way. Not-for-profit organizations. Not-for-profits, my experience having run big for-profit businesses and big not-for-profit businesses is that it's much harder to manage a not-for-profit than a for-profit business because there are so many more complicated measures. And one of the people we cite a number of not-for-profit people in the book. One of them is Dr. Joe Polisi, who's the president of Juilliard. Juilliard's the hardest school in America to get into. And you would think these students that go there who had been, practicing the violin or the piano or whatever it is, or, since age 3, they'd be killers. They're so driven, by their art. But inside Juilliard, so you'd think once they're in this environment, it would be a cesspool of killer egos. Juilliard is a place of it's a love fest there. They all support each other. And why is it? It's really the style of this leader, Dr. Polisi, who's very open, himself a gifted musician, but really more gifted as a leader.
Mr. Baker, you mentioned Wall Street often in your presentation, and you said that you knew some of the CEOs. Since the economic downturn, have you noticed a new outlook or different views in the CEOs on Wall Street?
The students really do have good questions, don't they? And the answer is, I think I'd say it's mixed. I think there are some CEOs that have gotten some real humility by this experience, and I would hope there would be.